All I can say is, I hope he burned that sofa. UPI reports that firefighters in Britain conducted an unusual rescue when a caller reported a man who needed help extracting his hand from the back of a sofa. The Stapleford fire station in England said in a Facebook post that a crew responded to a report of a male with his hand trapped down the back of a sofa. The post said firefighters were able to help the man extract his hand. He was not seriously injured but sustained slight reddening to his hand, the post said. I'm sure he had more than slight reddening to his face as well, said firefighter Gavin Wilson in the Facebook post. It really isn't just fires. I am pleased we were able to help the male without hurting him further or damaging his sofa. The fire department also planned to visit the man again to make sure he was okay and to complete a safety and wellness check. I stand by what I said before. If you get your hand stuck in a sofa to the point that you need the fire department to come and get you out, it's time to adios that sofa.
This one is right out of a Simpsons episode featuring Krusty the Clown. WEHT-TV News reports that a suspected carjacker ended up in the hospital after being hit twice by two different vehicles on the Lloyd Expressway in Evansville, Indiana. Officers say they were dispatched to an assault in progress. Dispatch advised that a man tried to steal a truck from a driver and then jumped onto the victim's trailer. According to a police report, after seeing officers, the man ran out into eastbound Lloyd traffic and was hit by a car. The man got up, and the officers say they tried to help him, but he ran away and tried to take vehicles from passers-by when he was struck yet again, this time by a semi-truck. Once again, the man got back up and tried to run away from officers, the Evansville Police Department reports. Officers say they apprehended the man and took him to the hospital, after which he was expected to be taken to jail. I remember a previous story about how the Russians thought that Americans were helping the Ukrainian army turn into cyborgs. I wonder if one of those alleged cyborgs somehow got loose and ended up on an expressway in Indiana. Booyah!
I guess this next one is technically possible, if she wanted it badly enough and put in the effort. North Shore News reports that a woman from Vancouver, Canada nearly got taken for an expensive ride by her car rental company, which claimed she drove more than 36,000 kilometers, or about 22,370 miles, in 3 days. Giovanna Boniface picked up a vehicle from Avis Car Rental at Toronto's Pearson International Airport and drove it to the city of Kitchener, Ontario, to help her daughter get moved back in for university. She returned the vehicle to Avis at the airport 3 days later, a round trip of about 170 kilometers, or 105 miles. It was only after she left and was waiting to board her flight that she looked at the receipt indicating that she'd driven 36,482 kilometers in 68 hours, along with a charge of $8,079.76 to her credit card. How far is 36,000 kilometers? If Boniface were to skip all washroom and fuel stops, she'd have to maintain a speed of 536.5 kilometers per hour, or 333 miles per hour, to go the distance Avis's bill claimed she did. That would be roughly the top speed of the fastest drag racer and significantly more than her rental SUV was capable of. It was an obvious error. Boniface naturally disputed the claim and the bill, but after trying to call Avis, she was repeatedly getting hung up on. So she called her credit card company to cancel the charge, but was told it had already gone through. Boniface eventually turned to the media, and fortunately that worked. After the story went viral, an Avis spokesperson told CTV News that they had apologized to Boniface and issued a refund. I wonder if any drag racers will hear this story and concoct a plan to get free rental service out of Avis Car Rental.
Boy, imagine if they reacted this way at the Weather Network. VOA News reports that the Hungarian government fired the head of the National Weather Service and her deputy after a fireworks display to celebrate Hungary's national holiday was delayed for fear of storms. The announcement came a day after pro-government media criticized the National Meteorological Service for their forecast of thunderstorms and gusts of wind, which prompted the cancellation of the fireworks. Online news outlet Origo said the agency had given misleading information about the extent of the bad weather, which misled the operation team responsible for security. The NMS agency apologized, citing a factor of uncertainty inherent in the profession. In a reaction broadcast on Facebook, Liberal politician Andres Fekete-Dior joked, "They couldn't produce the desired weather. They were fired." The fireworks display, billed as the biggest in Europe to celebrate Hungary's millennial state, was later rescheduled. I think we've all canceled plans at one time or another due to a bad weather forecast that ended up not coming to fruition. Now, imagine how much more accurate they'd try to be if their jobs depended on it. Maybe Hungary is on to something. Okay, staffing shortages are one thing, but incompetence is something else. The Independent reports that a plane scheduled to travel from Newark, New Jersey to Denver, Colorado, taxied for so long on the runway that it was forced to refuel. The United Airlines flight stayed on the runway for more than 6 hours before returning to the terminal as it didn't have enough fuel for the trip. One of the passengers on the flight was New York Times reporter Hiroko Tabuchi, who shared her experience of the disastrous flight, which was eventually canceled, on Twitter. After a long delay, the passengers were told to disembark the plane so that it could be refueled and boarding could start again, Tabuchi said in a subsequent tweet. However, once they had deplaned, passengers received an alert on the United app notifying them that the flight had been canceled, but were then told by staff at Newark to reboard. I guess United staff didn't have access to their own app? After what turned into an 8.5-hour delay, the flight was finally canceled. The Federal Aviation Administration said that the average delay across the national airspace system that day was 37 minutes, and 92% was due to weather, 5% was due to volume, and only 3% was due to staffing. Aha, I'm sure it was.
If you want to see all our videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, click the subscribe button below. I mean, hey, my cat's gotta eat.